Hytale released today, and I have a few thoughts on it with about 7 hours of playtime. I'm giving my thoughts under the context that I spent $80, since that's what I actually did. One of the first things I did was explore character customization, and it goes pretty in depth. I spent around 40 minutes just making sure my character looked as close to my liking as it could. That being said, there are a few gripes with some sections of it. It feels like there are a lot of options that all look or feel the same. And in other parts, there are a pitiful amount of options to choose from, such as the face expressions or eye option.
Okay, I'm making sure this works. Alright, I'm not trying to nitpick, but, so, this is what I mean, like, so this is like the default option, medium eyebrows, right? And this is shaved. It's the exact same, except these 2 pixels. If we go to the eyes, they virtually look the same. There's like no options. Square looks like virtually, this looks more square than square.
On the topic of customization, some clothes overlap and block out others, and a lot of hairstyles clip through. Also another friendly reminder, this isn't a hit piece or anything. I'm just giving my honest thoughts and showing my experience of what I have played so far. I understand the current plan is to give players something tangible, so that they can build and improve upon it with the community. After I spent time immersed in character customization, it was time to get into game. The premier game mode for Hytale is Exploration Mode. The survival game mode, for loading in with over 1 million players doing the exact same thing, is pretty nice. There were no hiccups during world creation, and it took no time at all to get into game. The game runs very smooth. For reference, I have 32 gigs of RAM and a 3080 Ti. Honestly, downloading that initial patch for release was more of a nail-biter, since everyone reported freezing downloads that forced them to reset progress. This is probably one of the only things I will spoil. But when you start the game, you're supposed to go to this temple so that creatures you find can be noted in a bestiary of sorts. I only found this out 5 hours in. One of the first things I did when I got into game was change my field of view to 100 or 110. And the first thing I learned is that you press tab for the inventory. To start progression, it's very akin to Vintage Story. Before you can even think of chopping trees, you need to get sticks and stones and make crude tools. The natural discovery and progression felt good, up until I had to find thorium. From what I heard, it is in a desert-like zone, which I never found in my playtime. I found myself comparing a lot of mechanics to similar games, which isn't a bad thing. It takes a lot from Rust and from Vintage Story in Minecraft, mainly the leveling a workbench mechanic from Rust, and the heavenly sound of hearing your resources when you interact with them. One of the best sound design choices in both Rust and Hytale. Tree cutting is a Minecrafter's dream, since cutting the base cuts all of the tree above it. It's not like Vintage Story, where the time to cut and durability cost is based on how big the tree is you cut. And one complaint I have is that there is no way to get saplings easily. Another is that trees love to put their roots so deep in the ground and pretty much ruin your flat terrain. If you are one of those people who want to mine the whole tree and you plan on making a wood farm, do it in an area you don't care about. The mining sounds and feels satisfying. You don't get ore blocks. It's similar to Minecraft, where mining an ore block gives you an ore item you need to smelt. Minecraft has a better system, where you can turn ore pieces into blocks, effectively boosting your storage. Ores only stack up to 25. Blocks stack up to 100. When you mine an ore in the game, you get the block it was in, and the ore. This compiles onto the game's biggest weak point so far, the storage. Just running to somewhere, without the intent to collect anything. It's so easy to fill your inventory with various plant matter materials. My biggest praise is the vertical movement of this game. If you hold jump, you can clear 2 blocks of height. There is a vaulting mechanic where you climb an extra 2 blocks if you walk while jumping, letting you clear 4 blocks of height. The crafting borrows a mechanic from Terraria and Rust. On the Terraria end, if you are crafting at a workstation, the game will check nearby chests for materials, so you don't have to have them on hand to create things. And from Rust, certain recipes must be learned from questing, and certain things can only be created with a workbench that is high enough level. One thing that I like to point out about mining that is a good touch is that ore has a shine to it that lets you see it in the dark. The caves aren't pitch black, so I don't have to go and use max brightness settings to traverse them. The caves do feel like a bit of a winding road sometimes, and there are small structures underground that try and break up the monotony of a long tunnel. The enemy density underground feels too inconsistent. Sometimes there is 1 or 2 goblins, or a rat to try and challenge you. And there is this lava toad who will pull you in and lick you. Its slimy tongue literally 2-shots you. And it's the first time I died to an enemy.